This podcast and every other podcast that I make is brought to you by Patreon. Our supporters on Patreon got this episode several weeks early, if you couldn't already tell from the fact that I talk about GTA definitely being delayed without knowing that news. And they got an extra 15 minutes of this particular episode. So enjoy the episode. And if you're a supporter on Patreon, thank you so much for your support.
Who the fuck?
You know a take that I
they
saw
think
about
they-
you recently, Ben, from the public that I thought was very funny?
What?
There was a comment somebody made about you going on stage at the BAFTAs for Balatro, and someone was like, he didn't even make the game. Why is he taking the spotlight?
Yeah.
And I was like, he was asked to do this.
Yeah.
He didn't go up dressed as a clown, a joker rather, unprompted. I thought it was very funny.
Sit down.
He didn't say, no, I, Ben,
stupid.
will take this. It was a very funny thing to read about somebody I know. Even because, even knowing you, it's not like you told me that. It's just obvious that's what happened. It was very funny.
And I think because so many of my friends who I haven't spoken to in a while have missed a few steps, so they don't quite know where we're at in my life.
Sure, yeah.
So many of them have dipped out of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, because it was on the BBC News, and I was all over the BBC News, people are going, what happened to Ben? He fell off.
He's just
really
getting
felt-
paid to accept awards dressed as a joker now, is he?
Yeah, and I'm getting like messages from people saying congratulations on winning the BAFTA. Like, I'm so proud that you've won a
Huge for you,
BAFTA,
yeah.
and I haven't.
Well, close.
I've given out a BAFTA, and then I've received a BAFTA, but I've never won one. How sad is that?
Is it better or worse that I have been nominated for a game award but didn't win? And then
Well, I've had that too.
Well, also true. But that's fair. But then the one that I did technically win was accessibility for God of War Ragnarok, and because of COVID, we were only allowed to have one person on stage.
Yeah.
So I just think
There you
what
go.
I'm trying to say is, everybody, we've all been hard done by here with our awards.
Honestly,
not
I
being
think
won.
I
So
think of the opportunities I've been given, and I don't think I've been given enough. I think I need to be given. I don't think I'm exposed enough. You know, I think I need more exposure.
I think we can
right
all
now.
agree. Who are you? Sorry, what are you? You're the.
I do get this a
joke
lot
guy.
though.
Yeah.
One of the weird things that's been happening, because we've got this game that came out this week or whenever you're watching this, and they've been really lucky that there she is.
Welcome, Erika.
There you are. Hello.
Erika, can you record your audio for me? We're recording.
We're recording. Record your audio super quick.
Hang on, I'm gonna go turn my light on real quick. Just hey,
Yeah.
talk amongst yourselves. Go ahead.
Erika, how are you?
Great. Congratulations. I hear Claire is incredible. Or Expedition 33. What is it?
Yeah.
Claire Obscura.
Claire Obscure Expedition
Yes.
33.
We have a lot to talk about
ne-
actually today.
I never thought that game. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about,
I know.
Erika. We have a lot to talk about. Your game.
It's been a crazy week, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Abu
like-
won a BAFTA. He
Yeah, Abu
might
won
be
one.
joining us if he has time, but he won a BAFTA, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Erika, your game got a release date. Very excited. Very excited. Really looking forward to it. What's the release date of Ghost of Yotei?
October 2nd.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to
Take the
it.
Weekend off. And then my game, my
Came out.
The only person who's in that game came out. People like
Two
it.
very positive review scores. That is, sorry, you were
Yeah.
talking about Claire Obscura.
Claire Obscure. Two things. One, what a name.
Okay,
I called it
Sort of why. I feel like Expedition 33 is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair
I don't know how much I can say. I can say that Claire Obscure is the broader, let's say the broader anthology of what we're about here.
Oh,
And
okay, I see.
Expedition 33, let's say, is
I
the
see.
chapter within that world.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay. So it's like Warhammer 40k Dark Tide.
Yes.
Got it, okay.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roger.
Even Claire Obscure would be Warhammer, you know, and then it would be the 40k or
I
the
see.
other Warhammer or the style.
I see. Yep.
And that, I just want to say, that game was made by 30 people.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Holy
So
shit.
the wild thing about this week is you have, within the space of like 2 days, you have Expedition 33 coming out at the same time as Oblivion. Two very different models of RPG, and also two very different kind of ethoses behind the numbers of people. You saw the amazing Oblivion reveal,
Yeah.
like, but that was made by hundreds of people, and you
Yeah.
have Expedition 33 that's made by a team of 30 in Montpellier.
Wow, I really didn't realize it was so few people. That game, I haven't played it yet. It's one of my most anticipated games of the year.
2025 already. For the sheer diversity of really interesting games that have come out that are scoring really, really high, on Metacritic, it's fascinating.
In this,
you've got
the
Blueprints,
year of
Split
GTA
Fiction.
6 too, like if that happens. So I'm not gonna, Erika, you can just completely blank face this, but I take it to, I'm so sure that Sony would not be releasing a game unless they were sure that they were either 3 months after or 3 months before GTA. Like this is a thing I am certain of.
I mean, and like, because, I'm just an actor, so like, I truly didn't know about any of it until the trailer came out. And
so crazy.
But like, as a fan, it's like, I remember years in which there were like big releases and everybody was trying to sort of like avoid each other. Even 2020 was kind of crazy, especially because of pandemic and delays and, so it is crazy, like, because GTA 6 is
It's a big
projected to
deal,
be
dude. Everyone wants to be away from it, and I mean,
highest
even
selling of all time, probably.
it's gonna be huge. I'm very excited about it. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima. If I remember correctly, nobody sourced me on this. Shit, fuck, bitch. Shit, fuck, cunt. Now you can't. You'd have to write all of that. So if I shit, fuck, remember fucking shit correctly, Ghost of Tsushima had to move out of the way of The Last of Us Part 2. So even that, because 2 games from the same company, we're like having to like figure out where their release schedules are. This stuff fully does matter. Like it is a huge deal. And I was like, October? Do they think that it's gonna be in 2026? Like Rockstar be pushing video games, man. Maybe it'll be next year instead.
I mean, we've waited for 10 years, but
can wait a little longer.
Right. It's so crazy that like even in the year of GTA, where everybody is terrified of GTA coming out, we still haven't gotten Death Stranding 2 and Ghost and like just so many.
The last like
this
3
week,
years have
we
been
were saying
really
was
good for
crazy.
video games. Like, am I crazy? Like, I feel like last year was really fantastic as well. Like, we just had a lot of really great games. Like right now, like I said, we got into this because Expedition 33 is one of my most anticipated games of the year. I'm very excited. Even more excited now that I know it's from 30 people. I love that little success story. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, Ben, how would you describe the game?
It is a love letter to RPGs from the 1990s with an amazing combat system that's kind of stolen a lot of the modern sensibilities of Sekiro and put it in a turn-based setting.
It looks to me like it's Sekiro meets Persona.
Yeah,
Which heaven.
Yeah, and also the art style is so
Gorgeous.
It's so Elden Ring, Dark Souls. It's so Miyazaki coded. It's crazy. Like one of the first enemies you see is this almost grotesque hand monster that kind of like its hands kind of like come out like that and blow stuff up. It's disgusting and beautiful in equal measure, and it's like this kind of weird quixotic dream. But also, like, because this is an acting podcast, I'm acting alongside Charlie Cox and Andy Serkis and Jennifer English, who is quite honestly astonishing in this game. Like Jennifer English's performance is just amazing.
I love her. I interviewed her one time and I had to be like, I may have a crush on her. I should never speak to her ever again.
Yeah,
And so I haven't.
Everyone does. Everyone falls in love with her. She's amazing at what she does, and I'm so happy that after having been a part of Baldur's Gate 3 and being Shadowheart, but I honestly feel that like she, which is a crazy thing to say because she was in Baldur's Gate 3, she got sidelined a little bit. You know, you got awards recognition from a lot of the companions, and rightly so, because their performances are amazing. How do you choose in that game?
Totally.
But the fact is, she's now standing on her own as a really prominent character in this critically acclaimed game, and she holds it together. It's her game, and it's just amazing to see. It really is.
What was
She's
it
amazing.
like to work with, people like Charlie Cox and Andy Serkis? Obviously, Jen English is, incredible, and like I said, everyone loves her.
Yes.
But they're people who I imagine you've known for a lot longer.
I would say that it's a really fascinating. The whole process has been really interesting because it's people when they talk about this game, they talk about holy crap, Daredevil and Gollum, and like, they're most famous for work outside of video games. And I'll be honest about this. Like when they were casting those roles, there was a consideration that came into it of kind of like people taking this game seriously. And you can cut. And they said to me, they're like, Ben, one of the main reasons why we were excited to have you on board is because you've done work
Very
in the video
serious.
game space.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a very serious man, and we want serious. Now they were like, people will take you seriously as a performer. This is after the fact that like you add a level of legitimacy to what it is that we're doing, because you're well known within the game space, but you play games, and it means that we can also have Charlie Cox, who's incredible in this game, and Andy Serkis, who's equally incredible. I mean, every person across the board is turning up. But it was really interesting that they considered that of like,
It's their debut game, right? It's the first game from the studio.
It's the first game from the studio.
It does make a difference, right?
It does. It's like, can we get eyes on this project? How do we get people just to take notice of it? People are going to enjoy the game. Game is good, but when Oblivion comes out the day before, or
Did
when
they
you're
know that?
No one
Nobody
did, right?
knew, right?
no one
Kind
did.
of thought, but
It was
yeah.
just a shadow drop.
Yeah.
Shadow drop. But I also I've been I was interviewed at GameSpot 2 days ago, and they were like, "Does it matter? Did anyone know?" I'm like, honestly, no. Like,
I don't
Oblivion's
think it matters
Oblivion.
either. Yeah, because look, I'm gonna play Oblivion today, and I'm looking forward to it. But it's also, I'm not planning to finish that game this week. And that, like, my plan is, like I said, as soon as I finish Blueprints, which I don't know how many more hours that's gonna take, I'm immediately gonna go to Expedition 33. Oblivion will be something that I continue to play for 5 years, kind of thing. Like, I'm gonna very
I would love
casually
to
play
say,
Oblivion.
like, we have it so long.
Because so many of us have already played it. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's.
Also,
I don't
like,
think they compete.
it's two sides of the video. In the same week, it's two sides of the same thing. You've got a remake of one of the most important video games of the past 20 years, and then you've got new IP.
Yeah.
And it's really, they can exist alongside each other. They're telling two very different stories. They're very different experiences, and you're going to go to them. I want people to support new IP.
Yeah.
But also, you can go and play Oblivion. It's amazing.
¿Por qué no los
Congratulations
dos?
to the team.
You can do both.
So, may I ask, and you don't have to answer this, but when you said that they, were excited that you were joining the project because you kind of add an air of legitimacy and seriousness as far as the gaming side, did they approach you for this role?
The whole thing was fluke. Like, I auditioned blind, and Jen auditioned blind. Like, they didn't cast us. But it was when they didn't know, when I auditioned blind, I went in and auditioned to play this character called Verso, who was going to voice this trailer. He was going to be the voice of the trailer. And afterwards they were like, are you Clive Rossfield from Final Fantasy 16? And I said yes. And then I came back in for a few more sessions to help work with the team about how they were going to go about recording stuff. So I started having quite a collaborative process. So I voiced Verso in the trailer, but I wasn't offered the part of Verso. I was just allowed to come back in a few more times. I had a couple of goes at like working with a team about how they were going to add the voices on top of the mocap. And because I'd already done like that thing where you essentially do glorified ADR with facial capture on top of stuff, they were like, well, Ben can help us out with this process. And so I got to know the team after about 2 or 3 sessions, where eventually they said, would you like to play Verso? After I'd actually of workshopped with the team. Because, so it wasn't really a foregone conclusion, but it was quite collaborative. So when they offered it to me, the offer kind of went out after I just won the Golden Joystick. Actually, I met the team and they were like, we'd love to have you on board to play Verso. But it was me voicing this character called Minoko, or me voicing Gustav for a bit, and just trying stuff out to see how long it would take me, because I'd had the experience, for them to then divvy out the hours, because they knew that they were going to offer it out to Charlie. They knew they were going to offer it out to Andy. And it was a really cool experience to be then told, oh, Ben, we really want you to be involved because we think you can add something. We've seen what you've done for Final Fantasy 16, and we think you can talk about this game and you can be an ambassador for this game, and you're not crap. So it was like, it was a long process, but actually I got to know the team because I was just like, honestly, it's going to take you this long to do this. I'm very experienced at this. So I imagine an actor who's not done this before is going to take an extra half an hour to get used to it. I've done 4 years of this. This is what you're going to do if you're trying to match lips. This is what you're going to do if you're going to try and artificially add it on top. By the way, when people ask, my nails are red, they say Joker on them. They're from the BAFTAs.
They actually look really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Someone described it, they saw it in a video, that they looked like my nails had been ripped off. So
Love that.
they're there. But yeah, so that was how I got involved, and they said, we want you to be on board. And honestly, the biggest honor was saying that, like, they thought that I had value in this industry. And this was really, really early on, and I'm like, I just think I'm a weird little guy, but they were like, we want to bring you on board. And I was like, oh, that's honestly really nice for my ego. I was like, that's a nice thing, because it was still really early on, and they were like, we're excited to have you on board. And then I kind of worked with them on this job, and here I am talking about it with red
you're
nails.
good at what you do. Has anyone told you that before? I know actors are all insecure, but you're very good at your job.
So, Erika, do you feel this? I sometimes feel I'm terrible.
That I'm good. That you're good. Yes, absolutely. I do feel that you're good. Yes.
How much do you need validation? Because I need it more than you think.
It's so funny. I always joke about that, about how actors crave validation and that they are a cowardly and superstitious lot. But I think after a while, like, I love validation from my peers. Like, it's become to the point where people I don't know, it's very sweet when they're kind, but also, you know, having people whose work I respect and that I work with be like, you're just so lovely to work with, is like, that's the dopamine rush that I need, I think.
That's got to be a human experience, right? You want the people that you work alongside that you admire to think you're good at what you do.
Yeah, but I think that, you know, in a lot of ways, I think a lot of actors, for various reasons, both personal and professional, tend to crave validation, and sometimes it can come from places that are not healthy, you know, like needing to be online or needing it from, you know, I mean, even, listen, we're all happy when our parents are proud of us, but if they don't quite get it, it's like, but the people that do know my medium and my work really get it, and that's important to me.
I've been directing a TV show for the past couple of weeks, and it's been very fun. We've had a great time. I wrapped my episode yesterday, and there's so many things that I've actually learned over the last couple of weeks from these two separate projects that I'm working on. So first, I actually did my first ever VO ADR for a video game the other day. That shit was hard.
Oh, matching lip flap specifically?
Yeah, so it was, they had, I would say, alpha cutscenes. They did the 3 beeps thing that's the same that I had done for film before. So for anyone who's not familiar, when you, ADR, I don't even know what it stands for, after...
Additional dialogue recording.
That makes sense. Is when you need to record dialogue after the fact for something that's already been filmed or recorded. So when I did it for the game, you get these 3, they play you the scene, and then they play, and there's these 3 beeps, and when you hear the third beep, it just goes beep, beep, beep. And after you've heard the third one is when you're expected to speak, and it's like a tiny little window. So for the game, I was basically trying to speak to the exact timing of a cutscene, exactly when it was on the character that I'm voicing, and tiny little lip flaps. That was way more stressful than doing it for film. The timing was so specific that I was like, well, I can't deliver this line well in this amount of time. So we had to like figure out ways to like change the length of the lines. Like, it was very stressful. Oh my God. So the second
it's the biggest
thing,
puzzle.
It's
That's why
totally,
I love it. It's a rhythm game.
yeah, totally.
rhythm game.
Yeah. It was very collaborative for that reason, though, because I guess the team also doesn't necessarily know how long it's going to take to say that line. They just have a vague idea. So it's, we had to just a lot of back and forth on that.
We got a pitch to Abu when he gets back for a new game for his company, rhythm game, ADR lit flap matching.
Oh my God, that'd be so good.
People would love that.
Yeah.
That's so meta.
Bring
I
back
love
the
it.
Connect.
I love the Connect.
Bring it back.
Loved it.
Bring it back.
Bring back
Now's
the
its time.
Connect.
Bring it back.
I loved it. I'm an
Xbox on.
apologist. My sister, because I play video games. My sister sometimes would come home like drunk from being out at night, and I was just there playing video games on my Friday night, and she would just go Xbox off, and I'd be like, "Fuck!" just to like troll me. She did it regularly, and it was very annoying, but worth it. I get siblings.
I know you've got a separate point, Lana,
Yes.
to say, but I think this is, because I love this podcast, where the hell does it ever go? This is a really interesting thing of what you just did and talking about that, because the mechanical intricacies of what is required is super, super fascinating, because I essentially spent 4 years doing that on Final Fantasy, and that's what I did on Expedition as well, is I was ADRing someone else's performance.
Yeah.
And so what's super interesting is the puzzle of it is fascinating. And also you learn so much about your own personal cadence as an actor. Like, I can tell you, if I see a sentence, I'm like, I would call it falling off a cliff, which is there are no more pauses available left to me in this sentence. So it's like, I can give you enough kind of vacant space to kind of elongate a line. Sometimes you've got to say it twice as fast. Sometimes you have to say it twice as long. But it's when you know, going up to here, I can give you space. When we get to here, it's one fluid thought and it has to go all the way through. And it's always fun to see, to unpack how we can make it sound like it's real and honest, but by being the most unrealistic thing ever, because you're just stretching out the meaning.
So did you have the same experience that I had, where you would be changing those lines more often than you change on the lines? Like, we like changed a few of them because it was like, this is definitely too slow, or this is definitely too fast.
Some projects that like really want fidelity to the script or to the translation.
So that's
but some
directed
of
by
them
director.
Are better about like sticking to the spirit of it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, especially, you know, with the Japanese, because you had to match the lip flap for Japanese. Did they do any amount of sort of like customizing the lip flap for it, or?
Well, the fun thing that I got to do is I recorded 16 first in English. But what we did, so it's different from 7 Rebirth, where they do the Japanese first.
Yeah,
We would do I would see Clyde. They would have either mocap that was done in Hungary or mocap that had been done in Japan. And I would see the character model, and then I would see the line length. So I didn't have the beeps, I would just see the ADR line with the line. And so I didn't have to match it, I'd have my facial capture thing. But still, once you're seeing a sentence, you're still having to piece it together, because they're going, these are the exact words that need to fit into this exact thing, because this is when the screen
matter of
is doing
sentences.
like, yeah.
Seconds,
and so there's some really, like, there's a scene that people really like in Final Fantasy 16, and it sounds like that because of the restrictions that I had, as opposed to honestly wouldn't have done it that way had I not been imposed with those things, and it actually made the choice more real. And it's the scene that a lot of people like the most, where Clive comes and confronts Annabella for the first time. And it was like, the speed at which I had to say those lines was insane. The speed at which Annabella had to say the lines was insane. We were just like going at it, and it gave it this amazing dynamism, and people love that scene. But that's only because we were forced to go, and be like, oh my God, it's almost like I'm holding on. And the reason my voice cracks and goes mad is because I'm holding on for dear life to get through that in the space.
Well, you yourself are probably a little stressed, right? Not just Clive, trying to fit it in there.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it makes for ultimately what is a very important scene for the character and a lot for the fans.
It's very, very cool. There's like so much. I feel this way about a lot of things, to be honest, but like so much magic that can come out of restriction. I think there's a lot of creativity that can come out of restriction. When you have an open playing field, things can be overwhelming, and you can try and play it safe. Like, I had a friend who was writing on video games. He wrote on a Star Wars game, and then he wrote on a new IP. And he was like, Star Wars is like, I have a box of toys in front of me, and I have to be really specific about where I put the box of toys. And the box of toys, everything needs to be approved. But I still get to choose which toys I'm pulling out of the box. A new IP is I have a sand pit and there's nothing in it, and there are a million grains of sand. And he was like, I thought I'd love working on a new IP after having all the restrictions of Lucasfilm, but the minute that I went to the new IP, I missed the Star Wars, because it's just so big and there's so much that you can do that it's like, there's terror in having a lack of restriction in a lot of ways. Like, it's just, you can talk about budget, but what does that mean to a creative? We don't know what that means. Like, that's not my problem. That's a producer's problem. I don't think about that.
But Erika, when you're working, I don't know how much you can say under embargo about your take, but like, obviously you did like full like performance capture for it, right?
Yeah, it's so great. It's like doing black box theater, but like, you know, even better.
Like, how many months were you working on it? Yeah.
Oh,
Again,
it
if you
was
can't say that.
all of it was spread out over almost 3 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been great. Also, it's a trip because they also put out the Japanese language trailer yesterday.
Oh, cool. What was that like
Because
for
it's
you to
really
watch?
important because it's like very, Kurosawa mode for the first one is, just like Japanese dub and with the subtitles. But it's so weird to me because, having come from done anime and ADR, and usually I have to match the Japanese, and seeing them do the Japanese to match me is so crazy.
Yeah,
'Cause
what's
then
it like?
It just looks like I'm actually like suddenly got way better at Japanese, because it's all like you can see them moving, and it's like animated to the Japanese too for the Japanese trailer. So it's such a trip to
Because
like
it's your
suddenly
face. Like, it's coming out of your face. That's
I'm the
cool.
sub, not the dub.
That's crazy.
We made it. Can't believe we made it. That's super cool. Do you feel like a sense of, like, for either of you that this has happened with, do you get like a sense of camaraderie for people who've dubbed you? Like, you're sharing a character with a lot of people in a lot of ways, right? Is that like, do you end up, is there like kind of a bond in there?
Yes.
Great,
you go.
thank you.
Yes. Yes.
So it's so funny. I think oh my goodness, I forget her name, but there's a German voice actress who has dubbed me for multiple projects, for Valkyrie and for another project, because she's also, you know, Japanese heritage, but is German, like fully speaks German, and like has sort of a similar timbre to my voice. So it almost feels like having, you know, how some people have a stunt double that just always works with them. And so, you know, I look forward to, if there's ever a German game or something, maybe they'll let me dub her.
That's so cool.
So there is definitely like a camaraderie there.
I just learned the other day that a lot of dub actors and actresses end up being quite famous, like in countries that don't produce a lot of media like firsthand, that they can end up being like very, very well known. And that was just a thing we didn't consider.
That is true. You have people, I mean, yes, it's amazing how they become incredibly famous people for doing the work, because that's how you experience a lot of this media, you know. Arcane, for instance.
Yeah, it made sense to me with animated stuff, but I guess with like things that were live action, it just never occurred to me that that would happen. But yeah, like Arcane's a very good example, actually. I heard about that, but like I just didn't, even people like dubbing TV shows end up very well known for doing that.
The voice of Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's super cool. It's like, it's just such a global effort to get art to everybody, and that rules.
It's really, I think it's really, really important. It's incredibly expensive to do.
Is it?
You know, yeah, because you're paying another actor to re-record everything.
Yeah.
And also it takes up a lot of space on the disc. It's like there's lots of things that you have to kind of account for. But it's really neat. And also I'm so impressed by people who dub, because they do it in maybe a tenth of the time that you do it.
Yeah.
Like I was on 16 for a long period of time, and I think the amazing German Clive, Vincent Fallow, he was on it for maybe half the time, and he just was doing everything, because it was just like obviously doing it what I was doing, except in German and probably better. And it was amazing to see a person who can kind of like take I was discovering stuff as I went, making terrible mistakes and bad choices, whereas he was like, nope, I've got to get it done, and was just giving that kind of performance.
Did you do it? You did it first though, right? So like the people who are dubbing are also like probably partly taking your direction even from hearing your lines, right? Which is like also cool, because you're kind of accidentally, even like you're not really consciously thinking about that part of it, but you're also kind of directing another actor in another language, which is very cool.
You're directing them as well as giving them restrictions. So we work to our own restrictions, but then you're also giving someone else problems to unsolve. It's always just everyone solving each other's problems for them, because everyone speaks differently. The cadence at which I speak and how my sentences flow together are entirely me. On 16, they started writing lines for Clive based on how I sounded, but not everyone who voices Clive in different languages sounds like that. So, you know, I'm sure the Japanese dub on Yote, it's hard because they've got to match what you did.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because, you know, definitely for Japanese, but also I'm sure with many other languages, the cadences, and especially for, you know, like tonal languages, I'm sure it's sentence cadence is different. And, you know, like the way that we emphasize things American or like even ask a question, you know, where it goes up at the end, but sometimes, you know, but for British, it's like a lot of times it goes down. And so those kinds of differences have to be accounted for culturally, because it like might mean something different if you go down at the end of a sentence versus up. And that's crazy to me. Yeah.
The interrogative inflection of the what at the end.
Yeah.
I very rarely do. The characters that I play very rarely ask questions. They always demand answers.
What?
And it's,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a different thing where it's like, we're going to do that, right? And that's asking a question, but it's really not going right. It's that same thing. And so it's really interesting finding that animation that seems real.
Totally. I can say from the dev side that localization is way more important than I think people realize, and that we are thinking about localization every step of the way, because there are things for the game I was working on where we had ideas for, like, I don't even know how to articulate it. Like, it's even like if you have art on a wall and it says something in a certain language, you have to consider the localization impacts of that. If you have
or like,
puzzles that are language based, you have to consider the localization impacts of that. Things have to change so much. Like, it's brought up constantly. It's super
and also
important and
for
quite difficult.
efforts is another one where it's like when you can't be like ouch even because
That
that's
doesn't mean
different
something.
in different languages.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Actually, in Expedition 33, it was made very clear that we would swear in French. So even though we're English, we all swear in French.
Oh, cool. I love that.
Very
So
fun.
it's putain and merde.
That's
and all
really
that. And
cool.
there's a whole video online of us just failing at saying all the French words.
So now you know a
And
bunch
Guillaume,
of French swears.
Yeah. Also, I still can't say them correctly. Like, Guillaume is this crazy genius who's is the beating heart of this game, and he's very particular about French swear words, and you had to say them correctly. And I'd be like, Guillaume, I'm saying it that way. He's like, no, you're not. But so yeah, it's there's also people were very, when the first trailer came out for it, they were going, why is this a French game but it's in English? And then they released this trailer called the Baguette trailer, which is the exact same trailer except every single one is wearing a beret and has a baguette in their bag, and it's voiced by French actors, and they're all French actors. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
It's so silly. It's this incredibly dramatic trailer that reveals all the voice actors, and they did it again, but revealing the French actors,
That's
but everyone's
so
wearing
funny.
a beret and having a baguette. Yeah.
Incredible. I
That's
love
how
that
you
that
know.
came from a French studio, like that they themselves made that joke. Is you love to see it.
They were so excited too. He messaged me being like, "Oh, we're announcing the cast on this trailer, but don't worry. 2 weeks later, True Art comes out." And it was like he was talking about this baguette trailer.
That's so fun. What a good idea. Oh man. So yeah, the thing I was going to mention about directing the TV show is, first is I became so conscious if I complimented one actor that I would need to compliment every actor. That if I was like, great job, everybody, like, because there are certain like things that like I don't want to make anyone insecure. So it's not
I gotta dole them out like Santa.
I just became so aware of it because I know how many actors need validation. So it's not like if I'm complimenting someone, a lot of the time it isn't because they did a better job than everyone else. It's because they were like more important to that shot. So I'd be like, that was great, thank you, because I'm trying to tell them that I need that thing that they did. But then other people are looking at you, so I end up going, everybody, everybody did great, to not single anyone out. The second was, I know that the way that I direct is maybe a little different to some people, and I think it's because I come from, because I can edit. I'm often doing my shot listing in a very edit-focused way, so I'm thinking about what the edit is going to look like, so I know when something's done, and I'm like, this is going to make the edit, this isn't going to make the edit. But because of that, I'm actually not looking at actors as much as you all may think, in that I am where it's very much needed, and like if something is obviously wrong, which does not mean bad performance for the record, obviously wrong can just be like it's not the correct choice for the scene, but it doesn't mean bad acting if I correct someone. But I'm also honestly a lot of the time looking at the blocking and the framing, like, and the pacing. That is like 75% of my brain, maybe 25% is the acting. And I feel like actors don't get told that enough. That when I'm like in Video Village and I'm watching everything that's happening, so much of it is placement because it's about timing. And if I have 10 takes of something, if I've gotten the correct performance in one of them, then I don't care. I'm just like, I can piece these together. It's great. I got it. And I feel like actors are so like, this was what you needed. And I'm like, yes, but I was thinking about what the cameras were doing in this particular shot or this particular take.
I think the thing that helps me in situations like that is to know, is this a director who will offer me criticisms or adjustments if needed? Because if you have
Do you
like
think
in
people
other
wouldn't do that? Wouldn't they all do that?
well, no, because that's the thing is they might just ignore it or not even think about it, or even like
But then are they?
dole out, be like, that was great, I loved that, and it's like, oh, they didn't love that though. They're lying to me. But,
I would never say
yeah.
it if I wasn't telling the truth. But also, if you have a director who's not giving you acting feedback where you need it, that I would say that is not directing.
You might say that. One might say that. One
Yeah.
might sometimes say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens so much, especially on TV. TV, when you got to get the shot. Like I've done bottom of the barrel BBC stuff, like really, like, and I remember shooting this show, and it was like we're quick, we're doing like 25 pages a day,
Yeah.
and they're like, is there anything wrong with that? No, moving on. And it's like
That is also a thing where, like, if my AD is like, hey, we got to do this faster, then if there's something that's not perfect, there's just nothing I can do about it. And that's certainly a thing. But I think well, I mean, again, I don't know what other actors are like on TV outside of, like, the time I had working on TV at Rooster Teeth as an actor. But that's different because we're all friends. That I will talk to my actors before the scene, before I'm talking to even anyone else, and be like, here's exactly what I need from each of you individually. And then generally people are good at it. But I also directed the finale, so they all knew their characters very well at that point.
Also, it's not your job to teach them to act. Like, that's another thing on TV, is film. It's like your job is to, as an actor, if you've turned up, if you've learned your lines, hope to fucking God you've learned, you know what you're doing. And then it's the room to play. And I sometimes think that you confuse when you're a kid and you're doing a school play, and they're kind of half teaching you how to act. Whereas when you turn up on a set, it's like, no, we're all doing our job. It's not like we're teaching the gaffer how to do their job, or the best boy, or whatever, or the grip. We know what they're doing, so just do it. And it's the same with actors. It's like direction should only be given if direction is needed.
Yeah,
if it isn't,
actors need attention. They need attention.
They do, but you can't teach someone how to act. I did have like some notes maybe yesterday where the performance he was doing exactly the right thing, but I said, can you just look down, because the uncertainty wasn't reading quite enough as I needed it to for the angle that it was at. And I was just give me a couple of like sad looks down so that I know that you're being very introspective about it. It fixed it. Like, it was like his performance was not the problem. It just didn't read the right way for the shot. And I was like, just give me some insecure looks in a different direction. Perfect. We got it.
Yeah, I think also there's this idea, this conception that directors are directing actors. I think just amongst the general population, and sometimes it might sort of leak into how we act on sets and things.
Well, that's why I think casting is 50% of the job where directing is concerned. Is that once you do your casting, in theory, you shouldn't really... The actors should be leading the acting department. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of what I'm doing if I'm directing something like this, especially where it's like a multicam setup, really is directing cameras. Yeah, like, I'm directing timing and I'm directing cameras. And
I feel like
hoping that I don't have to direct the actors very much, which again, outside of like picking where pieces of tension are, they did not need much direction. There was a question like some of the actors will be like, so what do you think I should do here? And I would be like, you tell me, because that's your character. You know the character better than me. What do you think he would do in this moment? And I feel like sometimes actors just need that thought to be like, what would he do? This. And I'd be like, that's it. Perfect. Do that. Like, they can answer that better than me after however many episodes of shooting something and reading through all these scripts. You know, like, I don't think I can tell you your character choices as well as you would know the answer to the character choices, unless it's like, again, I need a certain amount of tension, or I need a certain amount of levity, or something like that in the way it's shot.
Imagine coming onto Grey's Anatomy season 23 and trying to teach what's her face. You know, it's like, no. You point the camera, babe. That's what you do.
Totally.
And it's like, you know, like these people who've been on these shows for a long period of time, they know their characters better than you do.
Yeah.
And if anything, your job is not to teach them anything. It's just to usher the story through. You're a you know, an ambassador for those couple of episodes, and that's basically it. You're a steward. It's like, just get that done. And I think sometimes directors can find that difficult. You know, coming in, if they have an artistic bent and they come onto a TV show, it's like, no, this is where the cameras go. You do that, and then you edit it and you do it and you get it done.
TV's very unique in that way, because you have a showrunner. So like, I didn't do any of the casting. The showrunner has a style guide. So really, I'm just shooting an episode. It's not that much creative input. Obviously, going to do as much of it where you can, but TV is a really unique thing
Was it
to
the
direct.
bear? Were you shooting on the Bear?
It might have
in
been.
Chicago.
It
Was
may
the
have
Bear?
been. I've been in Chicago for the last 2 weeks shooting the Bear. Yeah, you got me.
That'd be crazy,
Wouldn't it?
like, never directed
How
a
did
thing.
I do that?
Proper. It's just like, and it's like we're doing this as a one-er. It's just a full 30 minutes.
I will say,
uncut.
I do love a wanna, and I will use them wherever I can.
God, listen, they're just so sexy because you're like, wow, all of these groups working together in perfect harmony.
good.
Look at it, it's like a dance.
So one
you
of the
seen the
final scenes we
studio?
had yesterday. No, go ahead.
The TV show, The Studio on Apple TV. It's some people don't want to watch it because it's got Seth Rogen in it, but it's Seth Rogen plays a studio head, and it's
I saw the billboard of that where he's like,
yeah, it's great. The first episode has Martin Scorsese in it, and it has like insane cameos. The setup is each one is almost like a farce, but there is an episode called The Oneer, and it's shot in a one, and it's about Seth Rogen trying to oversee a set that is trying to do a one shot. A one shot thing,
And
the
it's
whole
shot as
episode
a
is done as a one. Yeah, it's so meta. It's very clever. It's got Catherine O'Hara in it, Catherine Hahn, Seth Rogen,
Incredible.
Martin Scorsese, an amazing Charlize Theron crazy cameo. There's some really cool stuff in it, but there is an episode that's entirely done like a one. But also the way they shoot it is like they don't cut between cameras. It's like it's always panning. So there's this sense of anxiety that you're always feeling. It feels like a farce every single episode. So one of the episodes is called The Note, and it's where they have to give Ron Howard a note on a film that he's done, and he doesn't want to get, and he loves this thing, and they're all like, "Oh, Ron, it's," no one wants to tell him because it's about his dead cousin.
Oh my God.
and
Ron Howard is so funny at playing himself.
Yes,
Like he's probably, yeah, I was rewatching Only Murders in the Building this last season where he's on it, and it's just so charming. It's so funny.
a man who can take the piss out of himself like Ron Howard, and like the breadth of work that he's done. And there's a whole silly thing about, A Beautiful Mind, and it's really, really, really a really good show. But like, if you love a oneer, the episode The Oneer is so
Very good. Did you see that? What's the name of the UK show?
Adolescence.
Adolescence. Holy shit, dude. Have you seen it, Erika?
No, it looks.
It's a tough watch, but entirely oneers. Every episode. And the second episode is one of the most impressive episodes of television I've ever seen in terms of it being a one shot. It's fucking
I
crazy.
gotta start watching like good prestige shows again. I just like always want to watch cozy things now.
Yeah.
It ain't cozy. It does make you feel
Yeah.
kind of shitty, but
That's why like I'm thinking about like, oh, I haven't watched Severance. I haven't watched the newest season of White Lotus. I haven't watched like Adolescence.
it can be overwhelming.
Andor's back.
Andor's back. And
I know.
apparently
I
they're
watched
lovers.
the new Andor.
It happens.
'cause
There's a
I'm
lot
just
of
like,
stuff. And again, great time for video games the last couple of years. Expedition 33 just came out. I already got to move on from Blueprints. It is what it is.
You can play Blueprints whilst watching Adolescence
I
and
probably
listening to
could.
this podcast in your ears.
You got to multitask entertainment these days, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
It is really incredible. Also, the kid, I sadly don't remember his name, the lead, I guess, actor of Adolescence has effectively no acting
Since
credits.
died.
He
No,
died.
just the pause.
I
The
get it,
pause
I
was
get
like
it.
has since, and I'm like, that's so pregnant.
get
I
it.
have to fill it with has died. He's very much alive.
He's so good. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal. I think it's episode 3 is the one where he does the most varied performing, and man, he's good. But yeah, the thesis of the directing the TV that I wanted to pass on to the actors here is, I'm not thinking about you as much as you think I am.
But I
That's
want
kind
you to
of-
think about me.
That's kind of my
I'm avoiding
thing
it.
that I say about people in life.
It's
I
true.
think people just think about you a lot less than you think they do, which
100%.
is a relief to
Yes.
me, actually.
I detest being perceived. why do I have so many goddamn podcasts?
I mean, I'm an actor. I do love being perceived, but at the same time, I have to remind myself that like people aren't perceiving me, which is definitely a load off, in my opinion.
Totally. Yeah, it's
No
like
one
you
no
said.
one cares about you.
Yeah, it's
care about you.
nice.
I care about
No,
it.
they do. Obviously, we're being very loud right now.
Just
all
not
three
that
of us.
much.
We're kind of going. We were going like, look at us and listen to our podcast about nonsense. But also, like, if you're in a social situation, you leave and even you go, oh my God, did I make a mistake? I'm like, did you remember anything another person did in that room?
Yeah, no,
really?
it doesn't happen that way.
No one cares
No.
about you.
Okay, I do care about my actors. It's just that, again, I didn't know this. The most important thing is not necessarily the actors unless it's a really particular scene. Like, yes, they're important. I need them to be on their game. Most of the time they already are. That's why they got cast. So if you're not getting feedback, it's because you did a great job already and there's nothing else to add and that the feedback is needed for everybody else. That's it. It's the camera needs it
What's
or
the
sound needs
show?
it. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say. But I will
Can
be.
you tell us afterwards?
Yeah, of
You
course.
can tell us afterwards.
Sweet.
The other one is because I'm doing casting for this movie right now. We've done a bunch of casting, and I hate to say it, but that we know in 3 seconds thing is totally true. 3 seconds of a tape, you know if it's right or wrong, and it's not because someone's performance is even bad. It's just did they get the vibe or not, and you know so fast. And I really wanted to believe it was not true, but it totally is. You know immediately. So I also, based on watching a bunch of auditions, do not care at all if someone is reading. It means nothing to me if they're reading sites. Don't care. I don't think anyone else I'm working with does. All I care about is if you have embodied the character and made a lot of choices that then embody that character. But it does mean the first 3 seconds of your tape are the most important.
So that means that you only send out like 1 or 2 pages per audition, right?
We have been doing that, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we
All
have. Thank you.
right.
It's the 13 pages that you get, and you're like, fuck you.
And it's like, it's due tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Self-tape.
I don't care if you read them, though. I don't. It does. All I care about is your performance. I know you're going to remember the lines on the day. Read them.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I think that any director who, not that I'm a director, I'm a producer on this, but any director who'd be like, they read the lines, it doesn't logically make any sense why they would be paying attention to that. You just want to see your character.
You do. And kind of bringing it a little bit back to video game acting, you don't need a really expensive setup to do good auditions. Like, this is the microphone that I got Expedition 33 on, and it's a little HyperX, and that's it. Like, you like Jennifer English did it on her phone on her bed at 2 a.m.
I've booked
and
a
it was
thing
For the
on
first
my
several
iPhone voice
years.
memo underneath my blanket on my bed.
Yeah. For the first couple of years, I did I had a USB mic, I think, in just a room in the
Totally
corner.
works. But yeah, the
Because
tip
it's
is
the
sell it from
vibe.
the start. That's it. You gotta, because people won't necessarily listen to the whole thing, which again, I understand sucks, but it is devastatingly true. If
They don't have time.
no, they don't have time, and you get so many auditions too.
I remember doing a TV show and watching the director in the lunch break, just watching self-tapes on his phone, and he was just flicking through them. He was just going, yeah, no.
And it's not even that the actors are bad. It's nothing. It's just that they aren't the character you're looking for. Like it's, and some of it's so arbitrary. Some of these choices are like, again, I know you hear this, but it really is true. It literally can just be slightly too tall.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like they'd match the other actor. Like, oh, well, I'm casting siblings. They don't look like they could be related enough. Like, it's just so flippant. So much of it. And I feel like it's just, the actors get so insecure about it. And there are things that I do think are cruel. Like, when I inevitably someday direct a feature, this is crazy, but I do feel like I would want to send, and I would love to hear what you think of this. I would love to send, like, rejection letters. I would love to, because I think it's so
oh my
fucking
God.
rude that people, you ask someone to work, you ask them to record a tape, they're acting, and it's something that has taken them, you know, in some cases 10 years of skills to accumulate. You are asking them to work for you, and then you don't even respond. I think it's so mean.
You professionally leave them on red.
Yeah.
Dropout pays for auditions.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so Sam Reich and team, whenever somebody auditions, they pay them for their time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's super cool.
That's a person who understands the value of what it is that performers do.
It's crazy.
it just-
and I think it should be standard.
Like, again, asking someone to submit a tape is not asking for 2 minutes of their time. you're asking for 10 years of their life put into 2 minutes. And often they have to read it. A lot of them are, like I said, memorizing it. They also have to do the setup. I just think it's so mean that we don't say, hey, this is incredible. I'd love to work with you in the future. You potentially weren't right for this part. A job interview does that. We can't do that to performers? I just don't get it. It's crazy.
It's so hard, isn't it? Because there are so many excuses that people tie themselves up in to justify the industry that we do, which is fundamentally it's unfair. We're here by a series of chaotic events that we've kind of tumbled into to find our way into this thing that we call a career. And that's it. It's preparation, it's chaos, it's all of that. But really, it's like opportunities that have come our way that have just like fucking happened, and here we are. But like, we make excuses that the reason this job is so well paid, which it isn't, but the reason this job is well paid is because it financially compensates you for the time that you've wasted auditioning for so many roles. And I'm like, that's not true. That shouldn't be the case. The job that I get should not be paying for me for the jobs that I didn't get.
Yeah, totally.
That isn't how it should work. But I see it justified so many times of being like, well, the reason you get so and so for an episode, or Ben, you get so and so an hour to do this game, is because, you know, it compensates you for all the other things. It makes it all worthwhile. And I'm going, I don't think it does, actually.
Yeah.
Because I've wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of things for no money.
Yeah. It's a whole... You're right, justification.
A terabyte of auditions from the past couple of years.
Whoa.
Book.
You keep them? I delete mine straight away.
Yeah, I do, as a reminder.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. And again, that's free work. It is. You're asking someone to work for you when you're asking them for a tape. There are two things that I always say that I would do in casting, which is, one, I would love to send rejection letters. Again, I don't know if actors would actually secretly hate that because they're not used to it. I would love to do it.
Yeah.
The second is that I would love to have an interview with an actor, because I think in no small part it matters more to me that they're easy to work with than anything else. But the problem is, because they're actors, they could just lie to me in the interview. And I would believe that.
Well, I mean,
So how would
and
I know?
that's the reason people are always like, oh, well, you know, they're always working there with their friends, or, oh, there's like, it's because they knew this person. And it's like, yeah, because
You can actually vouch,
want to
yeah.
work with people that are good to work
Yeah.
with.
Also, there's a proven track record. Like, I have done this, and then what a weird position to be in, where you sit down with someone and they say, so-and-so wants to meet you. And I'm like, okay, cool. So you have a sit. And then after a chat, they go, so do you want to play this part? And I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah, you didn't know it was an interview?
You didn't know
That's
it was. I
funny.
just thought it was just going to go meet and chat, and then ultimately they send me sides, and then it would just kind of work out. But it was like, no, do you want to play this part? And that is cool, because ultimately the work has been done in the previous work, so they trust that you can do the part. They just wanted to make sure that you're not a dickhead. But it was so surprising, because I was like, do you not want me to like say some words into a microphone for you for a bit, or do a recording? They're like, no, it's fine.
Don't need it.
And I never had that, and I probably never will have it again. But being in that scenario, thinking, actually, that's cool, yeah, because I have proven myself. I think I can do it. But still, you still feel like you need to go, oh no, I'll do the thing. I'll do the please, sir.
And if I were to cast either of you, I wouldn't ask for an audition. I would, I would need one if I'm showing it to someone else, right? Like if it's like I'm producing, I have to show it to a director. If I were to cast either of you, I would sit you down and have a conversation with you about the character. And if you were like, I get it and I want to do it, then I'd be like, great, we've done it. And I wonder if surely that's common. Like, people aren't asking Leonardo DiCaprio to audition. Like, if you know someone and you know that you've seen their performances.
Oh, it's that's called offer. There are actors that are
Offer
offer
only.
Offer only.
So
It just seems like
Are you offer only, Erika?
I
You offer only?
cannot imagine, to be quite frank with you, there is less of a pipeline for offer only for femmes and people of color. They are constantly having
can't be
to
true.
reprove themselves.
Yeah,
over
but you
and
have so
over
many
again.
privileges. I don't know what you are talking about. That's ridiculous.
But yeah, I think there is something to be said about like sort of like an ambush. And you got to ambush an actor to get their true measure. I think I've heard of people who will like just have their assistant in the lobby clock how they're acting with other people or how they treat the assistant, because actors can be charming people.
That's what I mean. It's an interesting game. Like, I would want to know it's just as important to me that somebody is good to work with as it is that they're a good actor. And it's such a hard, I think you kind of just have to like call around and be like, how was this person? Are they chill? How are they? Because it's also not even that, because it can be personalized. Do I work well with them? Like, it's just such a, like, it's so important. It's
A thing happened to
minefield.
me a couple of years ago, which I can't really, it's a weird thing that I've never really shaken, and it kind of put me on the back foot a little bit, was I was at this award show, and the thing had been finished, and we were just kind of chatting, and I was chatting to this person for like 10 minutes, and it was a really nice chat, and I was just, having a lovely back and forth. And then they went, I'm glad. I was testing you, because they said you were really nice.
Okay, well,
I said
that's
this to you before.
sociopathic.
Well, wait.
Yeah.
Was this just a person in a position to hire you, or just a regular person?
This
that
was a person who decided that they were going to test to see if I was a nice person because they'd heard that I was nice. And in fact, the conversation that we've been having apparently was a ruse as like a test.
That's a sociopath.
Okay, hear me out. I feel like that's what everybody does if they know about somebody beforehand. It's just they don't say it out loud. You can't say that out loud.
I won't fake a conversation if I hear someone's nice.
I mean, it's not like a faked conversation. That you had a real conversation.
Yeah.
It's just
I would maybe
said
do
words
that
and
if I
everything.
heard they're an asshole.
right?
But if I hear someone's
Sure.
nice, I'm just going to be like, I believe it. They're nice. Great. I'm
you know what I
excited to talk
said
to a
in
nice
response?
person.
Nice.
In response, I said, "Oh, do you want to see a dance?"
That's very
Because
good.
I was so. Because
I've
I
also
was so.
prepared a
Yeah, do you-
dramatic monologue too.
I've got a
if you
classic as well as a modern.
That's
You're like,
awful.
what?
I don't like that at all. This is a person
very
telling you
funny
they're
to me.
manipulating you. That's crazy.
But also it was this time when I was doing a lot of these kind of shows, and I don't know. I think this person just didn't really believe that I was a nice person because there had to be something bad about me, and I'm sure there's lots of bad things about me. I get quite grumpy in the morning. I like a coffee,
Can confirm
Stuff
Ben
like
is
that.
nice.
but
Imagine if you hadn't passed, though. Do you think they
Right.
would have told you then too?
This was
They're
a
like,
test, bitch.
This was a test, and you
fucked
failed
up.
it.
you failed, yeah, and now you've got a curse on you or something. It's like,
It was actually
know?
a witch. Yeah, you had this conversation
Yeah.
with a- That actually,
It
I'm
is.
back on
You
board,
got
and now I'm
Beauty and
not
the
creeped out.
Beasted.
Yeah, that's
I-
fair.
And I think maybe they were testing to see if I would I think a lot of people at these things, and I get it, can often be like this, like they're looking over their shoulder and like looking for the next important person to talk to. But I was like fully engaged, having a lovely chat. I thought we were having a nice time, but inside she's going, make him fuck up. And I'm like, oh,
And
what?
again, on hearing that you're nice, my take would be, cool, a nice person. I'm glad I'm going to have a nice chat with them. That's crazy.
I think maybe the wording came out badly, but I was just really taken aback by it. And it really affected a lot of the interactions that I had for about a year afterwards with people, because it really was like, what? It was weird. So I felt like there was a front that I put up a little bit, feeling like there's going to be someone. I would still try and be honest and real and stuff, but I would ever so slightly feel like if I'm meeting a new person that might happen again. Of course it wouldn't, because it was a very particular thing, but I was like, are people trying to catch me out here? Is this a thing that happens in the industry?
Well,
Because I was really new.
I mean, the thing is I think that, again, I really think that this is just a thing that is true, but nobody says it out loud. If you're a public figure, people are like scrutinizing you,
Sure.
and they just don't say it. Or even when people are like, oh, you're as nice as people said you were,
But it's
like
not
that's
a
still
fake. Maybe they phrased it bad. It's not a fake conversation. But off of that, I feel like this is maybe sort of unique to actors in that how often do you feel like your social interactions, especially at events, are interviews? Are you consciously aware of that? That you're like, how I speak to this person may or may not get me a job. Is that a thing you're consciously aware of in conversations?
I think you'd imagine this. I think everyone in some degree in this conversation can understand it, but it's a loaded conversation, because if you go into a scenario, they've already seen, us or you on various things. They've either seen you in interviews or in games or on podcasts or in sketches or whatever. They have an idea of you before you go in. So the conversation isn't equal. If I'm meeting someone for the first time, I will always introduce myself as Ben, even if I'm at a convention, I will introduce myself as Ben, always, because you just I don't. That's not
That's what
okay.
humans
But
do.
yes, and they go, "Oh, I know," and I'm going, "I know, you know." But I don't say that. But it's like, I really want to do this because I don't know your name.
I'm glad
and
that you do that, having met actors I didn't know who they were, and I've said, "Hi, my name's Alana," and then they don't tell me their name. I'm glad that you do that. It's really helpful, because otherwise I have to be like, "Sorry, who are you?" And you can't ask them that. If you meet someone who's not telling you the name, you can't be like, "What was your name?" You can't. It's done.
Yeah, you can. You can be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name."
They'll be upset
because
about it.
then they'll learn.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I didn't catch your name.
Yeah, sorry, what was your name?
Idris Elba. I've heard that
Idris?
Idris Elba though does introduce himself as Idris. I've heard that he's really lovely and does that. And again,
we should test him.
Yeah.
We should go up to him and be like, "I heard you were nice. Here's a conversation that's fake to test that."
I'm starting to sweat. I'm getting the fear sweats just thinking about that.
Where his colleagues, Erika? We've both been in a game with him. Okay, I like to call Keanu Reeves my colleague.
We have. Oh my god,
he's a colleague of ours. We could go, "Hey, colleague, nice to. How are you? Are you nice though?
Are you nice? Have you had that?
If there was a burning building of orphans, would you save them?"
That doesn't make you nice. That makes you silly.
Or you have a hero complex, which is also a whole thing.
Or maybe you just don't like orphans.
And you set the building on fire. You're like, do I save them?
Yeah, that's true. You could have been the one who lit the fire, just to become like a great point.
Why in this image is it always orphans in a burning building? Why is that the worst thing?
Because it's the scariest.
It's pretty bad, Ben. It's pretty bad. It's a bunch of kids who, if you know what orphans are, their parents died or have abandoned them.
Can I just say something?
It's like the musical Annie, where she doesn't have parents.
I can't say this on content. Ignore that. Ignore that. This is, when you go into those dark places, I'm not going to say anything.
He was going to say, "I don't even like orphans." Actually,
well, I was going to say,
failed the nice test.
This is a dark joke. I'm not going to say it. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast.
At this point, I think we should end it so we can hear what Ben's joke was. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Yes.
Sorry we didn't have an episode last month. Schedules have been terrible. We're doing our best. We will be back next month on the 30th, assuming we're able to record. Yeah. Ben, what have you been up to?
I've been acting in video games called Expeditions 31, 32, and 33.
Check it out.
But you only get to see the 33rd one, so get it now on all games. And the first Berserker Kazan, if you like a hardcore action RPG.
People really like that too. You've had back-to-back huge review successes, Ben.
Yeah. This guy's a sexy boy with a big chest and long hair.
It's pretty much my type, so. It's like Sephiroth, but buff is what I want in a man.
He's buff Sephiroth. He is.
I shouldn't play it. It'd be too much for me. Erika, what have you been up to?
I am in a podcast called Worlds Beyond Number, and our story, The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One, is wrapping up its sort of campaign for in a couple of years we're going to go revisit it, but it's with Brennan Lee Mulligan and Abria Iyengar and Lou Wilson, and I'm not gonna lie, it is the best story that I've ever gotten to tell.
Cool.
And so please, people should go check that out. The trailer and release date for Ghost of Yote is out, and that's great.
So good. I'm so excited.
Game of the year. It's going to be my game of the year.
It looks awesome, Erika. It looks
I'm so excited, you guys.
I'm excited to get to talk to you about it. I was like, we could talk. I was like, we should ask Erika questions about Ghost of Yote, but then I was like, we can't until it's out. God damn it. Nothing we can say it.
I know.
We should do a spoiler cast episode.
Oh my God, I would love to. I can't wait.
New Patreon tier.
It's something still so cool about seeing the face of a person, I had the same thing with Rahul with Saros. It's like the face of a person,
cool.
It's very cool. And it's like the thing that gets me about the Saros reveal trailer is it's his walk. It's the way Rahul walks. Like if he's in the distance, I can see him because he has this really specific broad dude walk. And it's exactly the same in the trailer. And I was like, it walks just like you. And he's like, well, yeah, it is me. And I was like, yeah, but
so cool.
It's very cool. It's the same.
It's a jump
seeing your
scare
face is
for me.
it's so sick.
It's a jump scare for me. It is. but very exciting. And congrats to everybody on all of your cool things going on.
Yeah, again, BAFTA winner's not even here because he's too busy making a Game of Thrones or something.
That's weird.
All my friends are very cool.
What a bunch of wins for this particular show. Look at us. I think it's actually because we're all on this show. That's why everyone's like, we gotta hire these people.
I
really
believe
off.
people say this a lot. The scream I scrumped when Abu won was amazing. The audience loved it.
You were in the room for it too.
I was in the room dressed as a clown. Sorry, a jester. Sorry, a joker.
Yes.
I was dressed as whatever. I was dressed as one of these boys. And
genuinely, those nails are really well done. So
I need to get them off because I'm doing a very important thing next week, and apparently need to put them in acetone.
Keep them. It's funny.
I can't. It is funny.
Wow, you hate comedy. Cool.
But this is a comedy thing, but it's a different thing.
Do it for the bit.
I did do it for the bit. Can I say about
Commit to the bit?
I know we got to go. But that makeup that I had on at the BAFTAs, that makeup, the amazing person who did it, Brett, came in and she came in and was like, "Oh, this isn't normal paint. It's paint that can only be activated with a special serum." And I was like, "Cool, that's great. So it won't come off. It won't come off unless you have the anti-serum." So I was carrying around all night the anti-serum, and at 3 a.m, drunk, crying, I was there trying to get this thing off. I committed to the bit fully,
I think you should.
But I had to keep the serum the whole time. People are like, "Is it going to come off and it's going to come off a hug you?" Nope, it ain't. That ain't coming off. Only with this special magic thing. And had I lost it, that would have been on me for forever.
Which again is funnier. So I think you should have.
Again, that's commitment.
He's not committing to enough bits. So
I've got so many bits I'm about to commit to, guys.
It's all right. We'll have a talk as soon as we cut to Ben's lack of commitment to bits. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.